The more I think about this Netflix drama,
Miss Daphne Bridgerton!
You have no idea what it is to have one's entire life reduced to a single moment.
Sundjata's latest TV drama on Netflix is set in the early part of the 19th century in the UK. This production is deeply problematic, and here's why. Oh hi, I'm Sundjata, and I'm the founder of Warrior for Power. We are the only organisation on planet Earth dedicated to the total, radical transformation of the lives of African people on planet Earth. There is no other organisation like us on planet Earth. If you want to find out more, then go to patreon.com and search for Warrior for Power. Okay, let's get back to the video. Since the days of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner was released back in the 60s, we have had storylines trying to socially engineer society.
That a lovely name. John Wayne.
You see, a lot of this creative work was carried out by European Jews that migrated to the USA. They found themselves coming under a great deal of anti-Jewish hatred, and some of them set about in Hollywood to address the negative impact that the wider society was feeling because of this immigration. So you had European Jews who were directors, filmmakers, producers, screenwriters in particular. And what they did is they set about writing integrationist narratives, often centering themselves in these productions. But soon they felt that they had to help brothers and sisters in America who were getting it in the neck. So they started to write integrationist narratives to help the African population of America. And some focused on fantasy, like Star Trek.
Uhura, your last subspace log contained an error in the frequencies column.
Mr. Spock?
I hear you saying, why is this important? What relevance has this got to Bridgerton? Well, these narratives around racial integration, either through fantasy or through social realism, is what shaped our cultural identity and cultural language over the past 70 years, particularly if you're living in the West. That's what shaped our view of the world through audio-visual content like film and TV. So it's extremely important to understand where this stuff comes from. Now, many Jews that are involved in this project in Hollywood and elsewhere must feel that they did a great job over the past 70 years, that their creative skills had helped to foster ever closer integration. But did that really happen?
Jews will not replace us!
In the past 30 years, we have had an increasing number of Africans and those who identify as black take up the baton from the European Jewish immigrants into the US. They have come up with their own integrationist messages or narratives, but they've also come up with an additional twist. They've decided that they're gonna make money from promoting racial stereotypes back to the wider or white audience, and that's how they're operating. You see, their strategy of, on the one hand, racial integrationist narratives, and on the other hand, promoting racial stereotypes. Their strategy is to say that these two things represent no alternative. There's no commercially viable alternative to racially integrated messages and racial stereotypes. You're saying that if the funders or the backers of these TV dramas or big cinema releases want a racialized stereotype in their productions, then if you're an African or if you identify as black and you want to make film, then you have to do what the funders request until you are in a position where you can call the shots and you can then dispense with these racialized stereotypes, or you can look for an alternative way to represent African people on the big screen or on the small screen. I think we are finally over the era where you would always see a dead brother in a Hollywood movie first to be shot or killed, or you would have a brother killed later on in the production, but always a brother had to be sacrificed for the psychic health of white people.
I don't know how much longer I can hold this.
Never see a brother in a romantic lead or in a lead role of any description having his romantic other be of the same skin or ethnicity as him. So if the brother's dark, you would not get a dark sister being his love interest. No. Nor would you get his love interest to be white either. So his love interest would be either off-white, Latina.
People do. They leap and hope to God they can.
Mixed race, high yellow, Asian in some cases, but never a dark-skinned sister or never a white, waspy European woman. See, we're slowly getting over that era, but that era is still there. So that brings me to Bridgerton, because what I've said so far builds up to how Bridgerton is being constructed. Bridgerton, or the writers behind Bridgerton, claim that Bridgerton is a colourblind drama. But really, Bridgerton is a drama that just trots out old, tired, extremely racist stereotypes. So it's not colourblind, no, it's deploying colour or race in a way, it's using race to reinforce stereotypes that are lodged in the mind of many white people. And some of us in our community and others in other minority communities believe these stereotypes. They really do. And what Shonda Rhimes is doing is just rehashing them for a British audience. Shocking stuff. So, why is Bridgerton described as a fantasy drama, not a period drama? Well, Bridgerton is set in the early half of the 19th century. And here's the thing. Britain in the early half of the 19th century still had the majority of its colonies, bar the USA. It still maintained slavery across much of its empire. And its wealth, the vast sums of money that poured into the very country houses that they are filming in, those country houses were built through slavery, through the death, the murder, the torture, the rape of men, women and children. That's what backs all this up. And what's funny is, obviously it's not for them to know, but Sundjata, Rhymes and the others, I think they had no idea of who the British are. They've watched so many dramas, upstairs, downstairs, Downton Abbey. They do not realise how Britain made its money. So they've just said, oh, let's make a drama, all right, and let's put lots of people of colour in it, and let's just all jazz it up. And then when people inform them, probably at the manuscript stage, that Britain was a massive slave trader at the time, in the early half of the 19th century, it suddenly says, oh well, the series is a fantasy. It's a colourblind fantasy. So they could get away with putting ethnics in the drama and not making it look stupid, because the bulk of Africans in the early half of the 19th century in Britain were catching hell. Right. Okay, so the main storyline in Bridgerton is about the eldest daughter of a well-connected high society family called Bridgerton, or the Bridgertons. Daphne Bridgerton is one of 4 girls, or the eldest of 4 girls, and she is coming out for the first time to high society. The Queen favours her and says that she is the pick of the season when the young women come out to find a match, to find a suitor, an eligible suitor, and she's seen as the bomb. We have a second story, or secondary story, and this is of a young woman that was in the countryside and has come up to London to stay with her extended family. This young woman is called Marina Thompson. The Thompson family is also connected, is also part of high society, and they too want to get their daughters married off to the most eligible men. So it's all about getting your daughters and your sons married off to connected families to keep the wealth in the family, to increase your status within your community. So selling, well, it is like selling your daughter off to a prosperous family is key. Or for some families, if they don't do it, they end up destitute. So it's very important that young women marry well. Now for me, here is where it gets problematic. So let's roll back. So hopefully I put the 2 images of the girls on the screen. Okay, so Daphne Bridgerton is depicted as obviously white, but she's innocent, she's naive, and above all, she's a virgin. She's virginal. She is like the Jesus' mother. She's pure. Her skin is pure. It's like porcelain. She, you know, butter wouldn't melt in the mouth. She's probably never had an impure thought in her life. You see. And then we have Marina Thompson. Marina Thompson, she's a country girl. She comes up to London for a reason we do not know, but we soon gather. She's a mixed race girl, standing in for black. This is important, standing in for a dark black girl. Now, Rhymes is not silly, she's not daft. If you'd have put a dark-skinned sister in that role, it would have all kicked off. So she's put in a mixed race girl. Now this mixed race girl, we find out, is pregnant. She's with child. She's unmarried. She's a young woman from the countryside, has gone up to London, and the mother of the household finds out that this young woman is with child. She instantly makes the young woman, Marina, stay in her bedroom because she believes that what has happened to her, to Marina, is that what she's come down with is like a disease or a virus that is contagious. So she has to keep her locked away so the rest of the young women in the household don't get infected. So what Sundjata Rhymes has done is given us two clear black and white portraits of women. The first woman is white, innocent, pure, virginal. The next woman is mixed race, standing in for black, don't forget. Deceitful, because she didn't tell anybody. Sinful, because she's had sex outside of marriage. And above all, she's a slut or a whore, because she hasn't denounced what the young man has done to her, and she's carrying on this idea that she is somehow in romantic love. These are the two women the writers of this production have given you, or have given white people to consume. So what they've done really is they've used colour as a device, as a dramatic device. On this hand is white, pure, without sin. On this hand is black, impure, and full of sin. Now, you might say that I'm being over dramatic about it, but I ask you just for a few seconds to imagine Marina Thompson, the mixed race girl, as Daphne, as the high society young debutante coming out. And can you imagine the white girl as Marina Thompson, the woman or the young woman that had sex outside of marriage, was deceitful, was sinful, and full of lust? Can you imagine? Can you imagine them switching roles? And if you can't imagine that, this is how powerful these stereotypes are. And we consume them, or they are they seep into our bodies and into our minds and into our hearts. And we have no defense against them. They become a virus running around our body and running around our brain. Now, there's another stereotype that Sundjata Rhimes was happy to deploy. You've got to remember that this production is for a white female audience. You see, that's who it's aimed at. Yes, you might watch it if you're an ethnic, or you might be a male and you watch it, but it's not aimed at you. So these narratives are put there for a reason. So the next stereotype that she rolls out is the one of Lord Hastings. Lord Hastings, the father, the elder, Lord Hastings the Elder, is depicted as an horrendous human being, an evil human being. So what happens is Lord Hastings needs a child, needs a son to become an heir to the title of Lord Hastings. His wife gives birth. On her deathbed, he ignores her because the wife gave birth to a boy. He takes the boy into his hands, and he's delighted. We then see Lord Hastings the Elder confront his son of about 3 or 4, and the son has a stammer, has a speech impediment, and Lord Hastings blows his top. He denounces the boy. I will never see you ever again. You shame me.
Talk to me, damn you.
You are scaring me.
And if that's what it should take, I shall get a sound from him still.
No.
The most toxic relationship a parent could have with a child, to abandon the child. Well, they've only gone and made Lord Hastings not just a brother, but a dark, dark African male. And the way they've lit him, they light him in the dark. So it's always like a grey light, or the light is dark and is never quite in the sun. So they've tried to paint him out to be evil personified. That's what they've done. They've turned this character, or they made this character possibly the most evil thing in the entire production of Bridgerton. And it happens to be a dark, evil, hurtful, horrendous African male, and a deadbeat father who neglects his son. Now, where have we heard that before? And his child who's called Simon, who grows up, he's a light-skinned or even mixed-race, tall, handsome man, pretty much constantly shown with his chest bare. You know, this is painting by numbers for a lot of white women sitting there watching this production. The writers have just, okay, let's show him semi-naked because the women want that. We haven't seen the butt shot of him, but we saw a butt shot of Bridgerton Senior, the eldest son, but we haven't seen a butt shot of Simon. I'm sure that's to come. So what they've set everything up to be is that the mixed race bloke who's kind, you know, he's got a good heart. He might be a bit difficult on the surface, but we know why. is the love interest of Daphne Bridgerton. But his goodness is carried in his lightness, in his light skin complexion. Whereas his father, his badness is carried in his skin. Just watch it for yourself. You don't have to take anything that I say as gospel. Just watch it for yourself and you'll see. So what Sundjata Rhymes is doing is she's serving up to an overwhelmingly white female audience the idea that the sister or sisters fit the stereotype of a whore or a slut or a hussy or a Jezebel, and the typical brother fits the notion of somebody who is evil, possessed, demonic, dangerous, violent. Now I hear you saying that all stereotypes have some grain of truth. I know, I can hear you saying it. But no. If this was the case, then why don't we see all the stereotypes, right, in theatre productions and in plays, and particularly in the work of Charles Dickens, anti-Jewish stereotypes in modern day productions? You don't see it. Ever. Never. You can't indicate a time when you've seen it on the big screen or on the small screen in the past 30 years. You just don't see it. So if the Jews have been able to write themselves out of these stereotypes, why is it that people from our own community that look like you and me are happy to write these racial stereotypes? Why? Are they not making enough money? Do they not get enough prestige that they have to trot out these racial stereotypes? I mean, it's shocking stuff. So, you might not see this drama. I mean, I wouldn't have seen it if I didn't have to. Now, all this might be academic because you haven't seen the production, but this stuff is everywhere. This racial integrationist narrative, there is no alternative except for us to live and die under white domination. That narrative is everywhere. The second kind of like play with racial stereotypes, that's everywhere too. You see it in adverts, you hear it on jingles, you see it in film, you see it in obviously TV dramas. It's everywhere. And what's happened is that people that look like you and me, who do not have our best interests at heart, have decided that that's the way to make money. You literally mine your culture or our culture, and you look for negative stereotypes that people can then package up and sell back to the wider audience, and then the wider audience feels convinced or comfortable with these stereotypes. Like, you see, even back in the 19th century, this stuff was going on. Sisters as sluts or whores or Jezebels, and brothers as deadbeat fathers and evil and wicked and violent. That's what they're doing. They're just trading. There should be no respect for this at all. Now, here's the thing. I haven't read any of the reviews that are in the mainstream or the white media. But at some point, I'm going to have a look. Because if they haven't brought this to light, that the production plays heavily on racist stereotypes, then obviously it's worked. Do you understand? A lot of people believe this stuff, and I'm sure you believe it too. I know you watch me right now, you're going, I believe these stereotypes. There must be truth to them. And I'm happy to see them on the big screen or on the small screen. I'm happy to consume them. But it doesn't make it right.